Well, good evening, everyone. Yep, there we go. I just waited for that official notice to come through, letting me know that we are live, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode of Sex, Love, and Marriage. Let me turn this notification off because now it's just going crazy. So, welcome everybody to Sex, Love, Marriage, a weekly live discussion about all topics, sex, love, and marriage. For those of you who have never been here before, if this is your first time, you accidentally clicked on it, just curious to see what it is, I welcome you. I am your favorite life coach and certified clinical sexologist, Coach K. With Love and Intimacy 101, a practice that is dedicated to working with women and couples on growing intimacy for a more fulfilled and healthier sex life and sexual experiences. That is me. So if that is something that you are in search of, give me a call. Let's schedule some time together. So before we dive too far deep into tonight's topic, I want to do a quick reminder and rundown of some upcoming opportunities that you have to meet me in person. Yes. So I've been making sure that I kick off a lot of events because outside is open. I want to be able to share what I do with you in multiple ways. And so, in addition to my online stuff, I have some events that are coming up. So, on October the 29th, we have Tasty Pasty Paint and Sip with a Twist. This is a ladies only paint and sip where you are both the canvas and the artist. And every single seat, every ticket that is purchased, there is a donation that is going to the Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation. I'm pretty sure, I hope I'm saying that the right way, but a donation to our local breast cancer treatment and research here in Virginia. That's where a donation will go to for every single ticket that is sold. So even if you can't make it, you can donate it. But that's going to be super fun. Ladies, you know I got you. On October the 30th and 31st, we have the Haunt at Norchess. This is a safe, fun alternative to traditional trick or treating. You don't have to be outside in the cold. You don't have to go house to house. All trick or treating will be right here in one location. It is for the little ones, of course. The big ones, if you want to come through, is fine. We provide you with the treat bag. We have all kinds of a dinner snack to go home for the kiddos. And every single adult is free with a paid child or children. So remember to ask me for the multi-child discount. Then we have Mind Fucked. Super excited about that. My boo just joined. Hey, stop forward. Mind Fucked is the couples sensual touch yoga class. That is for couples. That is going to be on November the 12th. That's a Saturday. Two different times. We have a 2 o'clock and a 6 o'clock p.m. class. That is also going to be available online. And then we have She Flow. That is the ladies sensual touch class, strictly for the ladies. That is going to be on December the 3rd, two times, 2 o'clock and 6 p.m. And then, of course, the third annual Fools in Love Couples Retreat. Registration is open. That is going to be on March 30th through April the 2nd. Whew. Now that we got all of that out of the way, let's dive into tonight's topic. Are you living insanely? So, I will be the first to tell you I am not a licensed doctor or a licensed therapist. I do not diagnose anyone. I am a certified coach and I talk through problems for solutions. So, with that said, I'm going back to the title. Are you living insanely? Whenever I'm talking about a specific topic, I like to give as much definition as I can so that we have a point of reference and we are all on the same page. I also open up the floor to you. If you have a comment, if you have a question, please feel free to chime in. This is not just my discussion to just talk, it is for us to engage. I do these not to be right, I do these to be heard and get the conversation started. This might strike home with a lot of people because it could be you or someone you're really close to that experiences this. So, the legal definition of insanity is unsoundness of mind or lack of the ability to understand that prevents one from having the mental capacity required by law to enter into a particular relationship, status, or transaction. So that was the legal definition. Just in general, insanity is extreme foolishness, rationality, a state of mind of being seriously mental ill or madness. In this particular case, I'm talking about it loosely. I'm talking about the irrationality of some people to, for lack of anything better, to choose, make the choice to live in a state of stress. Living insanely looks like, and I gave an example in the post that I put up. So imagine that you are, I'll just use ladies as an example. So if I had a client that came in and said, I feel like I am ready to be in a committed relationship. I don't understand what the problem is. Every guy that I meet, they just seem to be no good. I've been in 10 serious relationships, and all 10 of these folks, there's something wrong with them. Right there would be my first radar that would go up, that out of 10 serious relationships or 10 relationships, everyone has an issue. Yes, there's one common denominator, which is the client, right? So I would want to know, what is it that this person does in their relationship that they do not last beyond, and I'll say maybe 2 years? Living insanely truly is practicing the exact same activities, but expecting a different result. That is irrational, it's unreasonable, and it will just stress you out and anyone that comes into your pathway. It creates a stigma around you, it creates your narrative. What makes it probably the hardest is someone who is unaware or unwilling to be aware. So, two different things: someone who's unaware and someone who's willing to be unaware. The one who is unaware, they're really, I almost feel bad for that person because, and if you see me looking around, there is randomly a fly in here and I have my heat on. So maybe that's why, but it's cold. So I don't know why flies are just out. I think he's just lost. Um, but the person that's unaware would either be someone who literally is just a hermit, who is not around anyone whatsoever, or a person who is around a lot of yes men or users. There is someone who I know, a friend of mine, who I always say make this statement, and I think more recently they got it. I always say, I really care about you, and I want you to be around people who want to be around you, not people who tolerate you. People who just tolerate you will allow you to continue whatever behavior it is that keeps you running into the same brick wall. If you're driving a boat and it ends up in the same dock every single time, then there's a problem unless that dock is your choice. But if you're saying that you want a specific outcome and you're not able to achieve this 3, 5, 10, 15 years, but you continuously do the same methods that you've been doing. Why? Because it's comfortable and familiar to you. Then you are truly making a choice to live insanely if someone has pointed it out to you. Of course, any type of opinion that you get, you take with a grain of salt. Someone's telling you, you're in a relationship and your significant other is saying, hey, I don't like the way you talk to me. You don't clean up after yourself. You don't do X, Y, and Z. And they're telling you these things that bother them. And they're telling you in a loving way in order for you to make the choice to compromise. You don't always have to change in order to not live insanely, but being willing to compromise or being willing to understand what the other party is saying and seeing what pieces of what they're offering you're able to incorporate into yourself so that that relationship can work. That part matters because there's someone that's willing to tell you these are the issues. I can honestly say that when it comes to marriages and relationships, that is probably the sticking point or the ending point of a lot of relationships. There is someone who's been allowed to live however they've been living to ruin relationships that they may not even know that they've ruined because no one has said to you, hey, your attitude sucks. What you're doing is horrible. The way that you approach relationships is no good. You can't keep a job because your attitude is bad. That is also a relationship. A job is a relationship. It's an employee employer relationship. If you're an entrepreneur or business owner, that's a relationship. There's a client, there's an entrepreneur relationship, there's a business and client relationship. Romantic relationships, there are two people that are involved in a relationship. And if you're not able to accept information that is given to you, or your family was not willing to tell you that what you're doing is not going to yield you anything long lasting, then shame on them. But even more so, shame on you for not understanding and realizing, hey, after the third job that I've been fired from, after the fifth relationship as a grown up that has not panned out, after the 10th or second or whatever, friendship that has been severed, maybe I have to stop, take a step back, and really see what am I taking accountability. What am I doing in these circumstances that is not allowing me to have a different result? That is where you could truly, as an adult, look at your relationships that you have with your family. I didn't say just mom or just dad or just siblings. I said family. But he is, you could be like the best person in the world and just not get along with your mom, dad, siblings, whatever, because maybe y'all grew up in the house together. I don't know. Some people you just can't. But I want you to really think about the relationships that you have with your family. And the reason why I say that is because your family is the very first relationships that you will ever have, good, bad, or indifferent. There's sometimes borderline the first love interest that you may have. Love interest does not always mean romantically involved. Understand that. The first people that you pour your heart into, the first people that you love, the first people that you are nurtured by, the first people that give you love and you give love, you receive love from, are your family. So if the relationships with your family has been strained since you were little and now you're coming into adulthood and you see that it is, and whatever it is, it just continues on, then that is living in an insane environment. If you find yourself frustrated every time a family gathering comes around, you get stressed like, oh my gosh, I got to go be around these people. I don't want to deal with it. Ugh. Why? Why is that relationship so strained that you're stressed every single time. However, you still go. And instead of changing how you choose to interact with your family, you just go with the flow. You live insanely. You accept whatever it is that is being done around you, that is being done to you, and that is being done with you. That is living insanely. You have the ability, hopefully, you have the ability, but you definitely have the power. Whether or not you action that power is up to you. But you have the power to speak up and alter how the interactions happen with that first set of relationships that you have. If your romantic relationships, if your marriage is just strained all the time, it just communication is shitty at best, you just cannot get it together, and it mirrors your family relationship, then at some point you have to do something different. Because guess what? It is very possible it's not your partner, it's you. But because you're in a family that's hush hush, we're not going to say anything. We just sit around each other stressed, all of us living insanely. You got to take a look at that. You have to figure out for yourself why. It is important for you to understand why. You look within you. Why is it that I don't have any good relationship with anyone in my family? The first people who you build relationships with. Because that transfers over into your relationships romantically and your marriages and your adulthood friendships. If you find that you cannot get to a certain level in your marriage or a certain level in your relationship or a certain level in your friendship that is transparent, that is open, that is honest, then that is time for you to take a look in the mirror. I always like to think that living insanely is just like living in a house with no mirrors. A house with no mirrors does not give you the opportunity to look at your own reflection, to see what it is. What is it that I need to work on? What is it that I need to alter or change in order for my outcome to change? Because obviously I'm doing something that is just not allowing me to have the outcome that I prefer. You always want to take advice from anyone, again, with a grain of salt. But if multiple people are telling you the same thing, even if they're telling you in different ways, it's time for you to go get that mirror. If you have a house with no mirrors, go buy one. Get a handheld one. Turn your camera phone on, turn your phone on and turn it around. Look at yourself. Talk to yourself. Ask yourself, why am I choosing to live insanely? Why am I choosing to continue the same actions but expecting a different result? Why am I choosing not to hear what people are saying to me? Every single one of those statements is poised with I, because it is no one else's responsibility to alter your outcomes but you, period. I don't care if you're married. Me and my husband have been married for well over 16 years. We've been together almost 20 years. The only person in our marriage that is responsible for my outcome is me. How this marriage and where this marriage goes, I have a responsibility in that. I have 100% responsibility in that. Just like he has 100% responsibility in his outcome. Our outcome together is those 200% that have come together. But we individually have to hold ourselves accountable for our actions individually for the outcomes that we would like in our marriage. And I hope this is making sense, because there are too many marriages that are just, they're just crumbling out of quote unquote nowhere. When in reality, we were so busy trying to live this 50-50 life, 50-50 marriage, 50-50 relationship, or trying to be in this is the way that I do it. No one's ever said that I have done it wrong before, i.e., your family. And so you continue on that same path until you're alone. Let's be real. If you're the only woman or only man in your family that is actively in a marriage, and right now it is a healthy marriage, and you don't, and all of a sudden it just goes awry, it starts to get unhealthy, take a step back and look around. You may realize, oh shit, I am the only person that is actively in a marriage. So maybe what I've learned or what I was not told growing up, I need to look at and figure out how I need to navigate this marriage differently so that I can have the outcome that I prefer, which is a lasting marriage that is healthy, unlike what I've seen. It is very common to utilize, well, I was raised like this, or my mom did this, or my dad did this, or I saw this when I was growing up. It is so common to use that as a reason. I won't necessarily call it an excuse, because sometimes there are reasons. When your reason turns into an excuse for your actions, that's when it's a problem, because you have full responsibility to ensure that you do not live insanely by looking in the mirror, seeing the role that you are playing in this continual hamster wheel of disaster, and working on that. And that's not to say, hey, the other party doesn't have anything going on. It's not about them. You work on you, but communicate that. You know what? I realize that we've been going on this rocky road. I believe that my role in this is X, Y, and Z, and I want to work on it. It is not my job to tell you what it is that I feel like you are doing, but I support you if there is anything that you would like me to support you in as you work on you. And they can tell you, oh, ain't nothing wrong with me, I'm good. And that's fine. It's, again, it's not about your partner. It is about you and that transparent communication. You're letting them know. Because the reality is, your partner has been to the family gatherings. They see the relationships. They watch how your family just allow you to act however it is that you act, and they don't say anything. Your partner may be tired of telling you the same thing over and over. But the moment that you were able to recognize the role that you are playing in this outcome that is starting to look as all the other outcomes did, then you open up a line of communication and support from your partner that can allow you to work on. You have to take accountability for yourself. If you are living insanely, which is you are doing the same actions, expecting different, that is your choice. Uncover these mirrors. Go buy you one if you don't have one. Stop living in a house without mirrors. Look at yourself. Speak to yourself. If you're tired all the time, if you're frustrated all the time, if you feel like I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of relationships. I don't want to be with nobody else because it just seems like they all end in X, Y, and Z. Well, if they're all ending that way, the common denominator is you. So you have to look at yourself and figure out how you can live not insanely. Change the actions, change your thought process, seek support. Your partner is probably going to be your biggest support. Even if you piss them off to the highest level of festivity, if you're saying, here are my downfalls, I see it, I get it, I don't want this relationship to end like the rest of them do, I want to be with you. Trust me, if they have been riding with you this long, they're going to support you. But you probably got a thin layer of fuck up left in that whole relationship. So use it wisely. So we are 26 minutes after the hour. You know that we are out of here by 30 after. I definitely always like to say I appreciate you guys for rocking with me on every single Tuesday night at 9 p.m. And that's when I'm here with you for love, sex, love, marriage, every single Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm just looking for next week's title. So the next week on the 18th, we are going to be talking about the 7-year itch, fact or fiction. So I want you to, wherever you're listening to me right now, I want you to make sure you are following. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the page. If you're now on YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe to my page. You can find me on every single platform at Coach K101, COACHKAY 101. Share this with a friend. If this is a conversation that you feel like you need to have in your own marriage, in your own relationship, in your friendship, in your familyship, in your workship, share it with someone else. If you're not ready or don't know how to start that conversation of accountability, reach out for support. I'm more than happy to help you with those conversations. That's what I do. Sex, love, marriage all go hand in hand. This topic right here is super important because in a marriage, living insanely inside of your marriage is unnecessary. Whether your sex life is in shambles, whether your intimacy is non-existent, whether the relationship that you have with your partner or your children is just destroyed, it is never too late to rebuild. Never too late. There is support out here. I work with women and I work with couples. My goal is to build that intimacy, build that trust, open that communication. I do these videos so that the conversation can get started. So I will catch you guys right back here next Tuesday night, the 18th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be talking about the 7-year itch for fiction. If there's ever a topic that you want to hear about, please feel free to shoot me a message and I will make sure that we add it to the list. You can check the topic list. If you go to Instagram, you'll see them all. I have plenty. We're going well into almost into the new year with them. And don't forget, this Sunday is Self-Care Sunday. As I said in my post, leave it up to a man to throw us off our game, ladies. So, Ian, now that you finished running amok all over the East Coast or up from the South up through Florida, we had a little bit of weather here in Virginia as well. Now that you finished running amok, Self-Care Sunday is back on this Sunday, the 16th, right here at the space at Norchest with April. She's going to be talking about and doing skincare with us. Self-Care Sunday is every other Sunday right here at the space at Norchest for ladies only. Different ways of self-care. Self-accountability is in there too. This is the winter edition. They end at the end of November. So if you haven't been to one yet, you might want to look into that. And also don't forget our weekly Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time couples mindfulness yoga class. So you can attend that in person or online. That's all, guys. Thank you all for joining me. And yes, my hair is a mess, but it's driving me insane. But I meant I was not going to redo it just for this little 30 minutes. So y'all got what y'all got. But it's okay. All right, y'all. Have a good evening. Bye.